G'day everyone. Bellerian is our second very annoying mage fight, but there is 2 or 3 tricks you can do to make the fight much easier, no matter what weapon you're using. As a squishy mage with no armor, Bellerian is easy to stagger with your attacks, so if you relentlessly chain attacks together, you can effectively stunlock her. But the problem is that she often casts this blue shield, at which point your attacks no longer stagger her. This complicates the fight significantly because now she's free to cast all her different magic stuff on you, and you just have to avoid it. With enough damage, the shield will eventually break, but the problem is that phase where the shield is up is so dangerous that you're probably going to chew through a few health consumables. The good news is that while she doesn't have the shield before she's cast it, you can actually interrupt the cast itself that generates the shield. So by staying on top of her relentlessly and hitting her as she casts the shield, which is this kind of blue wispy animation, you can literally prevent her from casting the shield the entire fight. So you want to be running with her the whole fight, especially when she leaps away like that. She'll often follow that with the cast of the shield. Sometimes she does get away or you don't have stamina, so having an active command ability like Furious Swipe on the greatsword that can close a gap and dash you to her is very valuable. If you hadn't noticed, you can actually use your command skills assuming you have spirit charges without stamina. So if you can prevent the shield from being cast, the whole fight is much easier. You can chain attacks together, stagger her, break her stance, and get brutal attacks in much more consistently. Now the second really important thing is when she teleports away from you in this puff of kind of cloudy white mist, where she will then teleport to the other side of the room and start channeling an ability where she generates up to 6 or 7 skulls above her head. The number of skulls she gets determines the type of summons she'll do in a moment after this. When she gets all 7 skulls, like you can see here, she gets her most powerful summon, which is the big... She goes invulnerable up in the sky, and she summons this big elite undead looking thing that's quite powerful and just annoying to deal with. If you're ever fighting this guy, you're doing the fight wrong. Instead, as soon as you see her disappear in that puff of white smoke, get your javelin out and throw it at her straight away to interrupt that channeling generation of skulls. If she gets only 1 to 3 skulls, it'll just be some like great swords and some archers or dogs. If she gets 4, it'll be that like invisible dude who does the burst attack on you. 5, 6, and 7 is a combo of either him or the big elite dude. And the last really big tip is that she takes basically no damage from elements, but she does from poison, and you can apply it pretty easily. So poison enhancer and concentrated poison essence are what we're going to use for this fight, and it actually does a lot of work for us. So I'll show you how to do that now. Before you go through the gate, use our vitality sphere and your poison enhancer. Vitality spheres do huge work on this fight because you're running around so much. You need lots of stamina to stay on top of her and interrupt those shields. Now straight away, throw a concentrated poison essence at her because she doesn't move for a little bit. Dodge through the first spell, and then we start our general game plan where we just want to stay on top of her. After every combo, don't do too long of a combo because she will jump away. Just 1 or 2 pokes and then run and stay with her. Be a little patient. It's not actually about being crazy aggressive, it's about being relentless and consistent with your attacks so you interrupt those shields. Now already just after those first few attacks, you can see here as I zoom in that she's already got the poison status and she's taking 900-ish damage every second for quite a while. And that's just free, really easy damage, and then at the end of the fight, as it wears off, we can just apply it again with another concentrated sphere and a poison enhancer. Now this is not a particularly clean kill. I still get hit by heaps of attacks here, so you still do need to be dodging her spells and abilities, but between each of her spells and abilities, you need to be closing the gap very quickly, running after her, and quick taps to keep interrupting that shield cast that might be coming every time she jumps back. Don't forget the poison is doing a lot of work here for us passively too. Now in a moment, we're going to see her disappear with that puff of white mist. As soon as I see that, I'm going to be getting my javelin out and throwing at her here to interrupt her, and then as soon as you've interrupted her, keep closing the gap quickly because you want to be able to interrupt the shield if it's one of the first or second things she casts. You do obviously need to deal with whatever she summons, in this case great swords that I need to block, but keep moving towards her so that you can get close as soon as possible. There's the shield, so I use Furious Swipe to interrupt that. It did seem that she would often try to cast that immediately after that 50% phase transition where she does the skull summoning thing, so keep that in mind. When she does this attack where she flies up in the air after 2 swipes and comes crashing down, if she doesn't have the shield, you can just interrupt that ground AoE, which is really handy. You'll notice my poison has worn off, so I'm using my enhancer and another concentrated sphere to help get that poison straight back up. Just hold your guard up like this for a moment so that she actually stands right there in front of you in the essence for the full duration. And just like that, after another concentrated essence cast and just a few hits with enhancer, we've got poison status applied again, and that will last until she dies, just doing 1000 damage every second. Super useful. The boss is quite relentless during this second phase, just casting spells constantly, which is why having that passive poison damage and being able to interrupt at least some of them because she doesn't have a shield makes all the difference. Again, as I said, this is not clean at all. Like, it just goes to show how much room there is for error. I'm getting hit by quite a lot here, and I've still got 2 potions left. As soon as she leaps like this, make sure you're running after her, use your Furious Swipe if you need to, and again, she starts backflipping here, follow her relentlessly, and there's a shield cast. Another one interrupted. and that is no shield casts for the whole fight. It means you can get these big stagger combos, and it just simplifies the fight so much. Alright, so we'll take a quick look at the build for those interested. I'm using the Bishop 3-piece, which is the sword and 2 trinkets. This gives you stamina damage when you brink dodge, and importantly, 15% damage for 15 seconds when you do Furious Swipe, which I obviously do a fair bit in that fight. The Deep Shadow 3-piece gives another 15% stamina damage and 10% flat damage increase for frontal assaults, which is just attacking from the front, which is nearly all the time. And the Fallen Lord for a really easy 10% damage on charge attacks from the 2-piece, which is really nice. Obviously with the Greatsword, the vast majority of our attacks are charged. And then as discussed, we have our poison consumables. In the skill tree for the Greatsword, if you're curious as a Greatsword player, I'll just leave this here and you can just pause or screenshot this to have a quick look, but it's pretty generic. We've got so many points now that I've unlocked pretty much everything I want. And then in common, there's just a few points there in counterattack and on the resources on the left there, but that's pretty much it. And that's everything. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you liked the video, or leave a comment and let me know how you went or any other good tips that you discovered. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers.